So then I think these next 4 movies we're about to discuss I would consider these guys as like the prologue to Chapter 1, because James Gunn did state that Superman was the thing that really kicks it all off.
Right.
But first he started talking about Shazam. He said this really quick thing. He says, first we have Shazam, Fury of the Gods. Shazam has always been off in his own part of the DCU, so he connects very well. That moves directly into Flash. Okay, so just that sentence alone, Raul, I feel like we don't have actual confirmation yet if he's actually part of the DCU or not. Is he saying that he's in the DCU? Like, oh, he was in a different world. Like, you couldn't tell he was in the DCEU. So yeah, of course he's going to connect to the DCU. Or was he saying, oh, he's in his own part of the universe, so it's more of an Elseworld movie? What does that mean, Raul? What do you think about that?
I think, honestly, I feel like the reason he said that was maybe to soften the blow for a lot of people who are big Shazam fans, because the truth of the matter is, I don't know. This is right. Shazam is kind of out of the way, but he's still involved enough with the main kind of story and trajectory of the DCEU, what was the DCEU. There are enough threads that it's like, I don't know, what would be the point, unless they do something in Shazam Fury of the Gods where he is, I don't know, something narratively cuts himself off from the main universe. What if they do some sort of multiverse crap there? I don't know.
Magic.
And then Shazam is just in his own universe, and then that's that would be part of Elseworlds. But I don't think so. I think Shazam Fury of the Gods, I think that's going to end the Shazam story. At least this version of the story.
You think it's going to end it? Okay.
I think so. I think I think the Zachary Levi Shazam is going to die with the Ezra Miller Flash, with the Jason Momoa Aquaman. I think he's part of that era, and that era is ending. So I think after Fury of the Gods, I think that's it. I think Zachary Levi is going to hang up the cape.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I wouldn't hate it if they kept him. That's for sure. Like, I don't mind Zachary Levi as Shazam. I think he's a great Shazam. I think he's pretty good. I'm looking forward to seeing the new movie. But also, I just think it's just weird the way he's phrased this, because we don't have a real confirmation, I feel like, whether or not he's going to stay, because that last sentence, that moves directly into the Flash, James Gunn says. And so I'm like, okay, so it's that the Shazam movie is connected with the Flash movie, and then the Flash movie is connected with the Blue Beetle movie? Like, is that what we're saying? Because then James Gunn goes on to say... This
first part is a little muddy.
It is a little muddy. I think he kind of wanted to speed right through it, because he knew that this isn't his thing. It's not his projects that he's excited to talk about. We're ready to talk about the more nuanced new things that are coming out.
But he did make it a point to kind of gush about the Flash, as everybody else has. Everybody else, all the executives and people, like insiders have talked about, the word on the street is that the Flash is a really good movie, apparently.
Well, yeah, and so that's where James Gunn says a fantastic movie that I really love that resets the entire DC universe, then to move into Blue Beetle, he goes on. But that sentence alone resets the entire DC universe. There's a lot of people online. I've been going through Twitter right now, and people are like, are you kidding me? So the Flash is going to be in the new universe because it connects with Shazam and connects with Blue Beetle and connects with Aquaman? What? How are you going to do that and not Henry Cavill? I still don't think that this means that Ezra Miller is going to be the Flash in the future. I think the thing he wanted us to really focus on is resets the entire DC universe. Right. Then we go to Blue Beetle. And so then Blue Beetle, if I'm hearing this correctly, Raul, Blue Beetle then sets up the next part for the new DCU stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound right to you?
Okay, well, here's the deal. Here's the order that everything has come out in, right? Shazam, Fury of the Gods. Then he says Shazam leads into the Flash. And then the Flash resets the entire DC universe. And then he continues to say, that I'm quoting, then to move into Blue Beetle. Mm-hmm. What does that mean? So does that mean Blue Beetle is part of the new DCU?
Or are we overthinking this? And maybe he doesn't mean that it's all connecting movies to each other. It's that, okay, then once we're done with this movie, then we go to this movie. And then after that movie's over, then we're going to move on to this movie.
Because then after Blue Beetle, he talks about Aquaman 2. But then even though Blue Beetle and Aquaman 2 come out after The Flash, they will still take place before The Flash, right?
Oh my God.
That's what's unclear about all this. Yeah.
This is killing us.
That's what's a little unclear about all this is because
also
what
I want to
he doesn't do. Hold on a second, Kevin.
Go ahead.
What he doesn't do very well is explain how the timeline of events will occur, right? It's giving me a headache.
No, it's totally a big old headache. I think we just need James Gunn to like sit down and record just one video with his iPhone or something and just be like, hey, just want you guys to know Shazam's in the new universe. This character's not in the new universe. This character is in the universe. That's all we need to hear. We just want him to say that. And he made it so like, it's so strange the way he put it.
I'll go ahead and tell you what I think. I'll go ahead and tell you what I think. I think it's exactly what I said. I think it's that The Flash is the movie that in that narrative will reset the DC universe. And from after The Flash, narratively, we'll start getting the new stuff, Creature Commandos, Waller, Superman Legacy. However, Blue Beetle and Aquaman 2, though they will come out after The Flash, I do think those two films will take place before the events of The Flash.
I think Blue Beetle's the only thing that's going to stay from the past. Like everything else, Aquaman's gone, The Flash is going to be gone, Shazam's going to be gone.
So you think Blue Beetle's part of the new continuity?
Yeah, I think Blue Beetle's going to be part of the new continuity. I have nothing to back up that statement, but it's a character.
It's muddy.
It's a new character that we haven't met yet, and I've heard a lot of good things in the background about that this movie's fantastic, supposedly. Yeah. James Gunn, when he talked about Blue Beetle, he did say, a fantastic film about a kid who's a marvelous part of the DCU, and then into Aquaman 2, which leads directly into our next few projects.
So he specifically references Blue Beetle, a marvelous part of the DCU. Now, was he just saying that, you know, like how we all say, oh yeah, the DCU, or does he mean like the DCU, like this continuity of films that we're about to see?
If he meant it as the continuity, then that means Shazam's in it too, because he did say Shazam has always been off in his own part of the DCU. He never says DCEU.
This is getting a little...
I know! This is ridiculous! When I first heard this stuff, I was like, James, just clear it up already. Jeez, man.
It's still a little muddy. It's still a little muddy. Once, like you said, once he gets into announcing the new projects, it's like, all right, I can follow this. I got this. But the stuff leading into the new projects,
it's still confusing.
It's confusing.
He also didn't state that these 4 movies are going to be Elseworld movies. So that's an interesting thing to think about. Maybe they're all still connected in a way. Maybe Jason Momoa will not be playing Aquaman anymore, but he'll play a different character. Or maybe he will play Aquaman, but now he'll be a newer Aquaman from another multiverse. From this current...
Are you talking about Aquaman 2?
With Aquaman 2, yeah.
No, man, that movie's been shot and it's been done. That's part of the old... That movie's been shot for a while. That movie's... It's part of the old regime. So the story of Aquaman 2 will definitely be very well rooted and entrenched in the quote-unquote Snyderverse, if you will. They're not going to do any kind of weird messing around. Well, Aquaman 2 is part of the old era.
For any listeners who are still kind of like, wait, who's Blue Beetle again? Let me just fill you in this here story. Blue Beetle in the comics, I think his name is Jaime, or is it Jamie? I want to say Jaime because he's Hispanic. Jaime is a teenager who discovers that the original Blue Beetle scarab morphs into a battlesuit, allowing him to fight crime and travel in space. Over the years, Reyes became a member of the Teen Titans, starred in 2 Blue Beetle comic series. In DC Comics 2011 New 52 Reboot, Jaime Reyes was the primary Blue Beetle character, only occasionally referring to past versions. With the subsequent continuity revisions, DC Rebirth, the previous versions were restored. So yeah, fun fact about that, Jaime Reyes, this is the guy who is going to be Blue Beetle, played by Solo Maridueña, who's another Hispanic actor that we know from
Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai. He's the main kid from Cobra Kai. Jaime Reyes is actually the 3rd Blue Beetle in the comics originally. The first being Dan Garrett and the second being Ted Cord. So it's interesting that they're kind of like skipping right to the third one, but I like it because, I mean, listen, I'm biased because we're Hispanic, and so it's nice to have some Hispanic representation. I wish they were Puerto Rican every now and then, but we can't always get what we want, you know?
We'll get one someday. We'll get one.
Yeah, I'm excited for Blue Beetle, and I've heard some good stuff behind the scenes, and I'm excited. I want to see it. I heard George Lopez is in it as well, and so I'm like,
yeah.
Man, like they can't put this movie out and then just go, bye-bye, Blue Beetle, you can't be here anymore. They've got to keep Blue Beetle.
I don't know. Yeah, it's unclear. It's still unclear at this point, which is very frustrating.
And it's as much as we can say, really, man, because that's it. Like James Gunn, he's so, even though he's given us so much information already, he's still very secretive about a lot of things.
Well, it's really just the transition. That's the only thing. It's the transition from one to the next that's still a little confusing. The only thing I know, and the only thing I can say with certainty, is that The Flash, like we said before, is going to be the reset. But everything else, Aquaman, Blue Beetle, Shazam, where is their place here? I mean, I'm suspecting that they're going to all end, but yeah, like you bring up this Blue Beetle thing, and now I'm like, well, is Blue Beetle like you said? Supposedly the movie's good. It's so good that it started off as an HBO Max original, and then they bumped it up to a theatrical film.
Now, what that kind of gives me a hint to is that maybe that story really is like in its own thing. Like it's got a beginning, middle, and end that doesn't give you hints about him joining the Justice League or anything like that. Maybe it leaves it off in a way that you can just enjoy the movie alone, and maybe James Gunn will leave something in the end credits that can actually push towards his universe.
So you think this could potentially be another Elseworlds thing until he decides not to make it Elseworlds? It's Elseworlds until it isn't.
Yeah, just like the Star Wars canon with all the books.
Yeah,
it's canon until it's not canon until it's canon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if he really likes it that much, maybe he could leave something at the end credits that could connect it to his universe, and we could get more Blue Beetle. I haven't even seen the movie yet, and I'm already that excited for it.